Hi again. Here we are. I don't know if this is going to be a part three, but if it is, thank you so much for being here with me today. We are continuing what I was discussing previously. We had addressed quite a few things about physical encounters with requiring physical evidence, okay? There is something I do want to start off right off the bat because in the past, when I did start to voice my feelings and thoughts about this subject, especially when it came to what happened with Megan Rose, this video I did about, I don't know, 3 years ago now, um, I was accused of being jealous. And I just want to say right off the bat that this has nothing to do with jealousy and that Elena Denon doesn't have anything for me to be jealous of with respect. Okay, not disrespectfully, with respect. It doesn't matter about subscribers, book sales, success, um, fame or whatever, notoriety, being well known. It has nothing to do with looks. It has nothing to do with the fact that she has this ET husband. And in fact, again, with respect, this might be Elena Danan's type, but it's definitely not mine. Okay? Thorhan is not my type. He's not an ugly fella, but he's definitely not for me. Okay? I'm not interested in an extraterrestrial. I've said this before. I want someone who's been through this life, gone through this process the same as me. If Claudio Nocelli is an extraterrestrial, then I might change my mind. But that's that's that. It has nothing to do with those things, I'm not jealous of the fact that she's got a family or the fact that she has a sister to help her out with her content, and I have absolutely no one. It's okay. This is just how life is. I've never held that against other people. I mean, I think that I felt some pain not understanding why I didn't have family and things like this, even just one person, like a lot of people seem to have in their lives. Not everybody, but a lot, especially when I was younger, I didn't have a lot of understanding about that. I suppose I expressed my anger about things in different ways, but I didn't hold that against other people, you know? So I just want to make it clear to people that this really isn't, um, and, maybe there have been some videos where I could have held back a little more, but I think and feel it was very important to express those feelings because there are going to be a lot of people who are going to go through them and feel them. So I want people to know that I can empathize with them. I do want to repair this and help fix things as much as possible. And like I said before, if you have, well, clearly, if you've been on this channel for a while, I made a theme song with AI. And with the help of AI, and I wrote a little story there in it, and it made a song. But in the song, it says, "Here comes last minute Lacey, running wild, saving crazy." So a lot of, I think, the assumption with this is that people are mentally ill or schizophrenic, you know, or just completely making things up. It's unfortunate because there have been people who have made things up, told tall tales, like even over the past, I don't know, 24 hours when I've been on Truth Seekers with Stephen Cambion, at his channel, excuse me. He even talked about how he's uncovered evidence that Charles Hall was never in the Air Force, you know? So, and I do remember the experience with Charles Hall. hearing his story and learning about these beings, it does show that there are other kinds of beings, especially about how he talks about how they treat their children, you know. But again, I have to say that I have a feeling that maybe with the loss of his son, he may have had some things go on with him. That's just one of my thoughts on that because even though, Stephen admitted to making a mistake with Billy Carson, he had stated something that wasn't true by accident, apologized for it, made up for it. And he said that this is the one time that this happened on his show, and he was going to make sure that it doesn't happen again, things like this. It was an error because he doesn't really understand court documents. So now he has somebody, woohoo, cats are fighting, well, wrestling and running. He has someone who does, right? But anyway, so I'm not jealous. This doesn't disturb me. I want to make sure, because we've all had enough pain and deception, especially with the whole, I don't like to call them elite, but, these people on the top of the pyramid, the one percenters, with this Kabbalistic nonsense. Salem. With this nonsense, we've all been hurt enough and put through enough nonsense, and I can understand it though, if maybe the fact is that she's not fully aware, or on the other hand, it's something that I haven't experienced yet. But again, it does not make any Marvin, are you being a good girl? I'm so sorry. It doesn't make any sense to me that there isn't any physical evidence, especially with something so vitally important. And she's already telling everybody that this happens. So how does it put him or her in any danger? She wouldn't know the time. It would happen at some point when she's live. So she wouldn't even know. So how would it put his safety in danger to do this? At any given point through all this time, no evidence was provided. And they can give it. But why not? If he teleports into the living room, never abduct people, she says. Let me see. Because her voice isn't being suffocated. She's been given very free range to go out there and tell her story, as where my channel is very much suffocated. Because I feel like if you're willing to play ball in this certain way with the bullshit, they'll let you continue. They'll let you be successful. But if you're telling too much of how close to the truth things are, they won't let you. She's talking about teleportation here. Should have paused it. Let me see if I can pause it, and I will find the exact part. Forgive me. Okay, I located it. It says what started as distant communication via a physical implant became visits and physical teleportation. Everything that she's claimed to be able to do with this physical implant, I can do with my pineal gland. I don't have an alien implant. Is this a play on words for real? Or does she not know? Because I'm very certain this is your pineal gland. This happens for me too. many other people, they don't have alien implants. You know, the way Claudio was able to see Helen, if this is really occurring and he's experiencing this for real, it was through the development of his pineal gland. Some people are just born a little bit more advanced as well. Not because they're any more special, it was just their destiny to be so, or it's just their time on the reincarnation wheel. Some people are just getting ready to graduate. It doesn't mean they're better than you. The grade 12s in high school that were getting ready to graduate, they weren't better than you. They were just in school longer. It was their time to graduate, right? Right. But to have this, and I mean, this was happening since she was little. It even shows this in her book when I showed you that picture where she's just small. I believe she met them when she was 9. And this is a lot of the time when your Kundalini energy activates at 9 years old, believe it or not. I went into puberty at this age as well. I got my period then. And I wonder if it's the same for her. I don't know. See, some people get wrapped up in their own story, that it just goes right to their head. It changes people. Power changes people. And this is the one thing that I noticed within this group of individuals, including Billy Carson, Corey Good, David Wilcock, Lena Denon, for example. And unfortunately, with Claudio, as we're going to get into eventually within these connected part series, I don't even know what it's going to be called yet. But maybe evidence or what? Physical evidence? Physical encounters? Physical evidence. Maybe something like that. I don't know. But this is happening when she was young. I am going to get to this list of corroborating evidence, but I don't think it's going to account to much. We'll see. Okay. So these are a lot of bold claims, you know. And I am the one who has for sure indicated her experiences are astral many times, especially with my Exposing Aliens and Those Who Speak for Them video, which can only be viewed on Rumble. So thank you to my Rumble subscribers. I had to do that because I didn't want any more copyright strikes from Corey Good. I wish that he could understand what I was trying to do here. I'm really not trying to fuck up their money. Oh, excuse my language. But this is the whole point of it. So they're talking about all these higher dimensional things, or the higher chakras, rather, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown chakra. Okay? These are all higher dimensional ideas, but they're acting in lower dimensional behavior. Power, which is the solar plexus. Now, power isn't bad, but it's how you use it, which is good or bad, right? Negative or positive, right? There's this fight for power. I mean, the creativity thing, who can do the best creator, who can have the most subscribers, who can get the, most attention and sell the most books. There's this very big prevalent thing with this. It almost feels like it's a spell cast on them or something. I don't know. And this is what I'm saying with this whole beast system and the whole Mr. Beast thing with YouTube. And now people are doing these dumb faces and sacrificing their integrity just to, and really selling who they really are, selling themselves out basically for this money. You get like a good paycheck from Google Ads and you want more, this lust for more. And again, this does have to do with the sacral chakra. Please, Divine Creator, let this one save. I didn't lose any content yet. Please let this one go because this is really good. Thank you. Please let this go through. Let it work. Let it save. Thank you. Ooh. Okay, so it does have to do with that. Then again, at the root chakra of survival, right? We have all these things, with the 3 lower dimensions. It's that kind of behavior, but you're speaking as if it's opposite. It's this flip thing. And I know we have to pay the bills, but really $250 a ticket to what was it, like a conference or something, I noticed, is just outrageous. You know, uh, even Comic-Con was like $79, Um, it just becomes this thing about money, you know. I remember once, learning about, how Sarah R. Adams had gotten her manager Taj to get her like 20, let's say 25,000 pounds, British pounds. Okay, that's what they dealt with. And she says to him in a message, "I'm waiting for my Google ad money." This is exactly what we're talking about. And it's like I'm saying that I just don't think that spirituality is meant to be sold. Again, I'm going to reference the story in the Bible where, and again, this is just symbolic and allegorical, like the moral of the story. But when Jesus got angry when he walked into the temple and they were turned it into a market, remember? I use this example a lot. I get this vision in my head when I talk about this. And um, the teachings of Jesus are what mattered. It doesn't matter if what his name was or that it wasn't even that individual. The Christ is real, right? The teachings of Jesus are what matter. That was the moral of the story, right? To reflect upon the life. This is the allegory of it. And also the symbolism with the whole Claustrom's oil thing. But there's many layers to that, okay? But I do believe there is something very significant with that. As much as over analyzing it is holding me back, maybe that part of it is holding these people back because it clearly did not do any favors to the departed David Wilcock. And I strongly feel that there is this influence, like I said, from the unseen realm. What was it? Principalities of power. Hold on. I need to figure out what this quote is. I'm not going to remember it properly, and then I will relay it to you. We're dealing with it's from, hang on. So there's clues, right? Clues, a guidebook, keys within. And it's left up to interpretation, they say a lot. But listen, this is what I was trying to relay. Dealing with principalities and powers involves with recognizing that our struggle is not against physical enemies, but against spiritual forces of evil. Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, principles. What are your principles? What are you willing to do? And it's like there's these beings, and like I said, they can influence circumstance in your life, they can influence people around you, all kinds of stuff within the unseen realm. This is why in the Muslim religion, they are so adamant about protecting themselves against the jinn and the dealings of the unseen realm. This is exactly why. Okay, and again, they even consider aliens as jinn. Fairies, leprechauns, gnomes, all of that. It's all jinn. Anything in the unseen realm, jinn. Okay? So it says, against the rulers of the world and of the darkness of this age of deception. It's an age of deception. Against wicked spirits in heavenly places. Yeah. This is a game of intelligence for them. These are intelligent entities of the fifth dimension that have never been human but can interact with the third dimension easily and influence our thoughts, emotions, and elements within our lives. I almost have it completely memorized. This comes from David M. Masters, and it really, really helped me a lot to understand things, and I'm way too far past it. Hold on. There it is right here. Because he has this little chart, and then he says, and I quote, "This is a plane of existence populated by very intelligent entities that have never existed in the third dimension. They've never been physical. They're spiritual beings. They were created spiritual, like archons. They were created spiritually. Yeah. This is this being in the hood. It's not just about the reptilians in the robes. Okay? It's like the brotherhood of no. Like the children of Cain and Abel. That's what it is. So it's these beings because they can be of all type, okay? By intelligent entities that never existed in the third dimension, being closely associated with the third dimension, entities in the fifth spiritual dimension can interact with us easily, right? And this is the thing, through telepathy, right? We will hear them. We can sometimes feel them within our dimension, right? Like having a ghost paranormal experience, yes? It says interact with us easily, influence our thought patterns, thought projection, they can repeat the same things over and over again. You'll hear this with demonic encounters. But not all of them. There is a spiritual hierarchy, for sure. It says, influence our thought patterns, circumstances of our lives, like even convincing David Wilcock it was a good idea to give Chris Beskar $500,000, or tell everyone. He says Archangel Michael told him to take a bath and pee, totally tormenting and mocking him. I truly believe there was a presence there, that he wasn't just having a schizophrenic delusional episode, It's really not uncommon to talk to animals, by the way. Talk to the chipmunks and squirrels. Good morning, Birdie. Good morning, Chippy. All the time. Just to be one with nature. What's wrong with that? Might have been a bit strange for people to see. I mean, he was alone a lot, but hey, But that whole thing, it was given red flags all over. It said, and or the elements in our lives. So the circumstances and or the elements. So, I mean, they can really influence people around you. Whisper in someone's ear, hey, you should go and try to get with them, things like this, just to try and, sometimes they're called the agents of chaos, these beings. In religious texts, these entities are referred to as demons or fallen angels. But again, a fallen angel, if you're in the fifth dimension and you come down to the third, well, technically you've descended. So you're fallen. Is it that they have been kicked out? Maybe, but you gotta remember where the source comes from the Bible as well. I'm not saying that there aren't parts in there they purposely put in. They're like that. They love trickster type of stuff, Mm-hmm. See, I even had one being shapeshift into a clown. I said, I thought it was so odd to have a dream/nightmare which was lucid like that, when I'm not even scared of spiders or clowns. It took me a while and other events to even know what that was, like a mission. But the clown was not a clown. Demons or lower dimensional entities mock us and think we're stupid. They want to kill us. They're really messed up or take our life force. And they're really messed up and complicated beings, to be honest, because they are so highly intelligent. The clown, to see the clown means you are the clown. It's mocking you. So I'm dumb, ignorant, and probably naive for not knowing what's going on for such a long time. Fourth and fifth dimensional beings. So this is what's been going on, not aliens, it's things like this. Um, as I was thinking it was. So sometimes known as jinns, demons, fallen angels, or parasites, they feed off the life force of other souls to sustain their own life force. This is my writing, by the way, not David M. Masters. This is me. The Asuras are the middle children of creation. So when I first started to encounter that presence, that energy, one of the first things it had said to me was, we were here long before humans were ever a thought. How peculiar is that? Also indicating they were a previous civilization before us. Doesn't mean every civilization that ever walked here looked like us, you know? The angels, higher dimensionals, being the oldest, and we, humanity, are the youngest in creation, as for my understanding, you know? That there are other beings in creation that were made before us and are much, much older. Okay? So it makes me wonder if there is some of that going on, like I mentioned with Semyaze, Semyaza. That's so close, even in spelling, but the sound of it. And when the Asura first told me, I said, "What are you?" And it said an Asura. I thought it was Azura, Asura, Azura. It sounds very close to me, so I wrote it with a Z at first and an RAH. A Z A Azura. Azura. I think it was the U and an RAH. Anyway, I wrote it down in my notebook. I can't remember exactly now. I'm dealing with so many thoughts at once. But I did. I mistranslated it first, and I wasn't corrected because I still had the sound of it right, and I had to search for that. And then when I found a surah and I learned exactly what it says about these things through the Vedic translation with Hindu cosmology, there's a fella that I always post his channel a lot, okay? But it makes me wonder, and not because I because if this is happening with her, with Elena, okay, then it could be happening with many other individuals who have claimed to have extraterrestrial boyfriends, regardless of how far it's gone. Okay, this is really just to try to protect people and help people and make sure no one gets hurt. I know that it isn't necessarily my responsibility to do all of that, but again, I expressed that, ideally, I would want this to be proven true because it doesn't matter if it's not happening for me. Right now, it will eventually. Even though I am confident in that anyway, but I don't know, man. I mean, I think it's very important to use your critical thinking. And she says about, how important evidence is. We're going to get to, here, see again, like women projected themselves into my life story. I mean, this is another dig at Megan Rose, inventing their own versions of it and spinning fantasies around their own Thorhanner like Valnak, wanting their own haughty alien husband. Oh man, that's just low. See, I understand, like, I'm not perfect, I'm not Jesus, that's for sure. And I can say that I haven't reached Christ consciousness. I have like, if this is a plant, I'm on my way there, like a seed and growing, like the Christ seed. Mm, but I definitely don't think she is either. These words aren't loving, even though I know she's expressing some frustration here. I'm thinking that maybe she's just not aware, you know? I'm not saying that these things aren't happening. Astrally, and even in the spirit body, is still extraordinary. And I know that it's going to be difficult for a lot of people to accept that it is so, that we are literally neglecting another half of our lives. I mean, they'll be totally willing to accept whatever's in the Bible and to understand that, oh, yeah, we get a new body in our eternal life and all of this stuff when we die and grow up with Jesus in heaven. But you can't comprehend that this might be happening now, that your spirit travels now, that you be going to these kingdoms of heaven out there now while you're still alive. How is that non-comprehensible for some people? You know, that you can accept that Jesus died and then rose in his spirit, one day, but it's so difficult to process this. I mean, this means that nobody's left out. You don't have to wait to be asked to be part of a secret space program, and that this is the reason why Area 51 is called Dreamland. Right? Of course, the government and these agencies know these things. Like I mentioned with Russell Targ and stuff like this, I'm sure they're very well aware. You know? So, how is it not? And how would it be that the government didn't already get involved? I mean, Elena's been telling everybody that this has been happening. So it's not like it's a secret. So it doesn't really put anybody's security at risk, like I was saying, because she's already talking about it, right? I mean, this is just critical thinking. This is just logic. I mean, it would be so easy to give a fingerprint to hair or anything like that. Leave it on the counter. No one's even going to know you have it. You know? It's extraordinarily important, especially when you're going on like this. Okay, so let me just see if I've missed anything else, and then we're going to look at Peter Corey. I'm going to do another video about how there's a lot of quantity over quality going on, especially online, with even the channels on YouTube. They're flooding it with information so that, the truth sinks to the bottom, yeah? I seen a video talking about this. Love failed for greed. Well, I mean, you're right there. She says money can be convenient, but sometimes it is a poison. It does. Like I said, once people get this big payout, they chase it. And I do see a lot of nonsense online. Now, I'm not trying to take it completely personal. I just want to make sure that I explain myself. Like, there's no elimination here. I'm not trying to eliminate you or discredit you. But, like I was saying, this is extraordinary claims, and it does require some evidence, not just like, oh, well, I knew this was going to happen before NASA put it out. Well, you know what? You used to be an archaeologist. I'm sure you still have friends within the science community, right? Even if it's not within the CIA. Because, there seems to be a big agenda to push the whole planets and stuff. But then again, you yourself have said there isn't anyone on Jupiter not in this dimension. And that I would believe. That there is stuff there, but we are just not within the light spectrum frequency or have that vibrational ability to see just yet. Our people aren't there yet. Our consciousness isn't raised enough. So I can understand that as an explanation. Dimensionally, yeah, because the unseen realm is unseen to us for a reason because where we are dimensionally, right? You can only see down, not up. And the fourth dimension would be up. But the fourth dimension can look down on us. This is why the spirits can see us, but we can't see them. But then again, the ones higher than them can see down and they can't see up in the fourth to the fifth, yeah? This is how it works. So there is something happening, for sure. And it's just as incredible if it's in the spirit body. There's lots of people that have talked about their out of body travels. I might be able to bring up some pictures. There's a fellow I'm seeing in my head with the dreadlocks there. He talks about his out of body experience that he's seen, beyond the ice wall and stuff like that. There's been quite a few people that he's clarified it's been out of body astral experience. There's nothing wrong with that if this is truly what it is. So, I mean, this is very close to her heart. She's put a lot of work into it. Like Stephen Campion said about them that they're all great creators. They've made cool, interesting creations. Like I said, I can see, for me, in my words, that I can see the different perspectives now. Even with Ishmael Perez with his ultra soldier, ultra terrestrial connection thing, yeah? And I was noticing it before, but at the same time, are they all playing this game? You know? And maybe certain people get swept up into it and they're not sure. Maybe they are, I don't know. But there's something about playing that kind of game is treacherous, it seems, when you get into that. And well, I mean, Elena, listen. She says, these same people who first claimed to be sincerely loving, faithful, and supportive brutally underwent a crusade against me ruthlessly. Love failed for greed. Well, I think in a lot of cases, even with Michael Sala, things weren't adding up for him. The same with Danny Henderson. I mean, and then there's been like these outbursts and falling outs in public, and and I understand like emotions can run high, but these people all had valid points again of not having real physical in hand evidence. There's all this talk, but no walk, you know? I mean, I would, okay, it says here uh, about EEA Enki, who desperately tried to save the world from Enlil's decision to eradicate humanity. Well, I hope so. I hope that the calling can be stopped. I don't know if she means, yeah, okay, so that was in the past or whatever. Well, it's going to happen again. The reset is just something that continues. So there's a lot of stuff that is, I'm sure, the way that she is experiencing it. Um, but that doesn't mean it's fact in the end all be all. It just may be the way that her inner universe is developing. You see? Mm. Well, I don't know if you came here to teach love, though, dear. I came here to teach love. She says, well, if that's the case, you should really stop taking jabs at Megan Rose because I went over that. I went over her channel. I took a look. Nothing about that girl seems to be wanting to be Elena Denon with Megan. I don't see that there. I truly believe and feel because she still thinks this is Valnak. So I truly believe that was genuine, and she was just as shocked when that happened to her. Like, she did not see that coming. So I think that she is a victim of this in itself, and it's really not right to take jabs at her this way. You know what I'm saying? There are other women who have been on Michael Sala's channel, actually, who have been very emotional about their ET husbands too. So really, it's about looking at the bigger picture and what we're actually dealing with here. For me, I'm not directly trying to harm. I just want to make sure that no one gets hurt anymore. I've experienced a lot of pain. I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't think it's wrong to ask these type of questions or to use this type of critical thinking. That's a really long time to have contact, and these beings should know, you know? So I think I'm really sorry. I've spent a lot of time on this. This is very important to me. It's not just about her, it's about the whole thing of it. I know that a lot of people want to know what this is, you know? And I think for a good chunk of them, they're on the fence of, is it real, is it not? I really need people to know that there is something happening here. It's not fantasy, delusion, mental illness, and makeup creation story time, not all of it. You know, even Corey Good was talking about his spiritual practices. Look, I was thinking about this today. There's a fella in town. I might try one more time to contact him. He's a UFO researcher. We used to be friends. We had a falling out because he wouldn't stop getting all like, well, why would they contact you and not me? I've been researching 30 years. He said this to me in the car one day. And I remember I looked at him and I said, you know what? I don't know. But what I do know is that the only thing that we don't have in common, because we know a lot about this subject, right? The both of us. I said, the only thing is that I'm spiritual and you're not. That may be why. And it was. It's because he doesn't have these practices. You may have all the information, but if you don't have that other side of it, you'll never make contact. Because we're not dealing with, a lot of the time, aliens in the way that you think. Yes, there are the breakaway civilizations. I'm not sure how common that is, though. I don't know. You know? But the spirit realm is functioning around us all the time. You know? I talked about how time works differently in higher dimensions. So, if even from the ancient past, if you go into a higher dimension, you're going to run faster, essentially bringing you to the future, passing right over us and going however far into the future, depending on how fast your timeline is running. Again, you can find out a lot of information in my Ancient Civilization series where I go through all of that. I always mention that Travis Walton, okay, he only thought he was gone for an hour and a half. This is just an example, right? He thought he was only gone for an hour and a half. Turns out he's gone for 5 days. The man was flabbergasted. He was like, what? He didn't believe them. But he was gone for 5 days. So this just goes to show you going into a higher timeline or another dimension, rather, another density, because that may be why. Maybe it's if the lighter, the less dense it is, the easier and faster time flows. Yes, because it's less dense. Think of the Dead Sea. There's more salt content, so it supports the body. Sink slower, right? So if it's more dense in that space, then time, I would assume, would move slower. More dense, slower. Less dense, faster. hmm And I think this would be why it felt, the time felt different. Both when I saw the craft and when I saw the Asura, but in different ways. Remember, I said that the air felt thicker, more dense, as if there were two layers now instead of just the one that we're normally used to. Yeah, more dense. Maybe. I mean, I guess it was feeling pretty slow. I think I'm on to something with that. Yeah. Even though I felt lighter, and that's probably because I am of a higher dimension, I suppose. Hmm. But of course, we're multi-dimensional, so we can go up and down through these different levels, right? Hmm. I go over this a lot in some of my past videos, um, like with the red dimension, it would deal with survival and fighting to survive and stuff like this, or like the yellow or the sensual sacral chakras that goes with the chakras, the color spectrum as well, has to do with these dimensions. So this is why the reptilians have to be a little bit sexual. They're not have to, but they're known to be sexually aggressive, and a lot of times, yeah, it's because it would be from like the orange and red, these lower dimensions. Okay, it's all connected in this way. So, right. Well, I definitely don't take any sadistic pleasure in it. And I don't know. I mean, Stephen Cambion said that he believes in second chances, a second chance guy. I agree. I like that. And I think that's true. And, I don't think I think that what was going on with this whole deception thing, because when I was explaining, when I first, well, met Stephen and started speaking in his chat and expressing what had happened, how many times, David Wilcock had me have a panic attack going out and buying supplies for my cats and I after, David had told us so many times that like a 3 days of darkness type of thing, the government shutdown and takeover and the white hats were going to do this and that. And I mean, it really messed with my life and caused me a lot of mental and emotional anguish. And of course, these things never happened. With like either not just ascension, but I remember especially talking about like mass arrests and stuff like this, okay? And I remember that Stephen was emotionally moved, like he was upset by this, and it makes you feel good that someone cares that much, and that's where that comes from, because he cares, and it upset him that another person had been affected by this negatively too, right? You got to remember that. I've always said that Stephen Campion's not a monster, and he's not. He doesn't know everything, but I do hope, but I feel that he is trying his best, you know? I think maybe things have been put a little bit more into perspective for him as well since David has passed. I don't know. Maybe one day he'll speak to me. I don't know. He doesn't take me much seriously, him. The last time, he yelled at me about Amy Eskridge, oh, she's just some girl, he says. He assumed that I meant that Amy Eskridge made up the term ultra terrestrial. That's not what I said. I said I heard that off of her for like the first time I ever heard it. But he yelled at me anyway. So that kind of just had me move further away. I did go back to see what was going on, but all right. So listen, let me just show you this thing with Peter Corey. I very much feel and think that it is something to definitely think about. Why it hasn't been looked into more, I don't know. Maybe even Peter isn't aware of the connection of what he has in his possession. But I mean, it would prove about, what Billy Carson's saying about these breakaway civilizations with ancient civilizations. And this is just one person that I know of. Okay. I forget that Spanish fella's name. The one that I laughed at because he looks like Indiana Jones. That'd be like me showing up to the friggin' pyramids looking dressed up like Lara Croft. OMG. I do that as like a joke. I definitely have a change of clothes. You know what I mean? He does. He looks like Indiana Jones. What I can't remember who. It wasn't Matthias DeStefano, it was another fella. He may be talking about this kind of topic. I don't know. Oh my good. In his picture there, just way too serious. And I mean, this UFO Hollywood thing is, it plays on people's egos the same as, celebrityism in a way. You know what I'm saying? So, but this right here is a physical evidence that we have. This is ancient human. So finally, after like what, 2.5 hours of me sharing my insight, thoughts, and feelings, because if you really want to read all of this, you can. I just wanted see, her and I, we have so much in common too. Like, what I mean, especially when she says this, the diversity of life in the universe never frightened me. Me too. I've always expressed this. Like, I didn't know exactly what I was dealing with. Of course, I called it spirit realm stuff, but when I would meet beings, even if they were not, normally what would be, well, most people would think, hey, that's a monster. I would always see things, and this would just come naturally out of me, like see things, the good about them. Like, wow, you have a really nice color. Your legs are quite long. I bet you can jump high. Geez, nice teeth. I bet you've got a good dentist. Things like this. The diversity of life has never frightened me either, but I suppose that the darkness and evil out there will frighten anyone. Again, bringing back to her experiences with the greys that she encountered. Hi, Merv. I know I'm still talking. I love you. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Well, she's a great writer. She tells a good story too, right? Like, she's gifted in that way. But I've expressed these things, like with the Asura, most people thought it was a monster. I can See the beauty in all things as creations of the creator, like a canvas, a work of art. Yeah. So I just wonder, well, I get it. Like, I would love to fall in love. Like I said, Claudio ever sees this, he should contact me. And if he's not interested, then don't. But at this point, I'm definitely not looking for an extraterrestrial like this. That's not what it is. I would really love to have some actual proof. I mean, what would be ideal is have these beings speak for themselves, right? That would be the ideal thing. Through anywhere, show up somewhere in a live stream and explain. A planet at the intersection of three universes. Makes sense because there's a multiverse, right? All right. Sorry. Let's move on. And I really hope that this saves. Okay, sorry everybody. I'm just you can feel that there is this connection between her and these beings, and I'm glad for her. I'm not jealous at all. I'm happy for her. I have my own thing going on, and I haven't talked about everything. And I may not understand it fully, but I have my own thing going on. I don't feel alone in respect to, the spirit realm, what's going on with that. It just sucks that, I don't have any physical people in my life. And this is why, like, if there are these physical beings, like, it is my goal to connect with them. If that ship is going to come back and they are, you know, benevolent, positive beings of even maybe my ancestors, then this is something that I want to achieve, and I want to be able to figure out what I need to do to achieve that. See what I'm saying? This is one way I will most definitely fix the loneliness factor in my life, because I'll finally be around people who actually love and appreciate me and who want me to be around. Hasn't gone so well in this life so far. So, I don't know. I hope that you've enjoyed this review thus far. We're going to move over and look at the video from Peter Corey. Then I might talk about Claudio just a little bit, just about the astral travel thing. I'll show you that fella with the dreadlocks. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. The OBE thing. Yeah. We're going to just go look at the DNA evidence of the hair. I will be right back. Oh my goodness, I've done another hour. Goodness gracious. I really have shown you my thought stream, and it is honest and genuine and authentic. Okay? Like I didn't hate Elena. Oh, did I put myself on that side? I meant to put myself on the other side. Ah, well. I don't hate her. I bought her book. I used to be a fan. And then through some of the behaviors, the things she was saying, the happenings, I just realized that I don't think and feel that she's the individual that she portrays herself to be and who I originally thought she was. And this is what makes me question the whole thing. It's okay if she's going to sleep, because a lot of the times she has indicated, even in her book here, and she looks like, okay, I still got, oh no. She's still, hold on, I might have to start a new recording. Hold on.